Get into my PowerPoint.
Let me try making you the host and see if that helps. It has you as co-host, but.
You are now the host, okay?
And then before you leave, you'll have to pass it back to me.
It is not letting me. So when I go to put entire screen, like when you do like the share button is like grayed out.
Oh, it's not even giving you that option.
Right.
Do you want to try to quickly send it to me via email and I can see if I can share from my?
Yes. Yep. Give me 1 second. Sorry, guys. Brianna, Captain Care. I don't have you in here.
No worries at all.
You want to just type it in the chat and I'll copy it?
Yep.
Sorry.
All right.
There we go. Thank you.
Yep. So we're just taking a second to try to get the screen up in the PowerPoint presentation for Christy. So hold on 1 second, everybody.
Kelsey?
Yes, ma'am.
In the chat, do I type in Kelsey or Cares? If I wanted to send you something. I typed in Cares. Maybe you'll get it.
Okay, I'm not sure.
It may have come directly to me, Mary.
Oh.
Yep, it came to me actually.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay, not a problem at all. Christy, were you able to send it?
I did. Did you not get it?
No, not at the moment. Kelsey, we're just having a problem with her being able to share her screen. I've made her the host of the meeting. Do you have any other recommendations?
Good question.
Trying to think if there was any other.
No, the only other thing I would have is what you've already done, which is sending it.
Okay.
I might have gotten it. Hold on.
Okay.
Let's see.
It's weird because I'm able to share. Oh, there you go.
Did you guys get it?
Even a host.
Okay, so can you see that?
Yes, but it's showing your Zoom. It's not showing the actual presentation. It's showing the people in the meeting.
Okay. Hold on. We're getting somewhere. I think I got it. Got it?
Got it.
Okay. All right. So I can't see anybody during when I have the presentation up. So I'll just pause. I guess at the end, we'll just do questions since I can't like see if anybody has questions, if that works.
That sounds great.
Okay,
and if people
awesome.
have questions, you could put them in the chat too.
Perfect. Yeah, and then I'll answer them all at the end. So it's a lot of information, but I will cover all of it and then again answer any questions at the end. So I'm a consumer advocate for National Grid. I cover Albany and Columbia counties. We have over 15 consumer advocates and 42 counties across New York State, including the 3 New York City boroughs. My counterparts up in the capital region are Carrie Kelly. She covers Saratoga pretty much north. And then Annie O'Connell, she covers Schenectady, Rensselaer counties, and Schoharie. So those were kind of cover the capital region. So we work with people to provide specialized payment agreements, deferred payment plans, bill extender programs. I'm sure those are kind of national grid language. So basically, we work with people who are unable to pay their bills. I'm sure anybody who has worked with people who have national grid, a lot of people have pretty large arrears. And what consumer advocates are able to do is have a little more discretion on as far as what payment agreements we can offer them, and what options we can give them rather than when they just speak to customer service representatives. So that is basically a large bulk of what we do is helping people get into payment agreements and then also referring them to other agencies and services in our areas. So as I just said, we specialize in assisting income eligible, unemployed, and then special needs clients who are experiencing financial hardship. So it can be, someone, I talk to a lot of people who are experiencing just kind of like a one-time medical hardship. They may have gotten into a car accident or they were sick with COVID. So they just need a little bit of either extra time or assistance. Not always getting people into longer term payment agreements. We kind of cover the gamut as people who are just experiencing any hardship in their life. We do have Spanish speaking advocates, and then we also have access to language lines. So if someone does not speak English, I'm always able to get an interpreter as well. We refer people to all the different programs you see there. So we work a lot with HEAP, temporary assistance through DSS. I'm going to go through these programs too at the end, the energy affordability program, Care and Share, and Hope and Warmth. So I will detail those as we get to them. So we do a couple different outreach in our communities. So we do what we call grassroots campaigns. And that is where we go directly to agencies and we bring our computers. We're able to get into our software and work directly with customers. So we do smaller ones where we kind of so I'll go to DSS and they can just send me people who they're working with. We just did a larger one at Albany Public Library where we actually advertise for it. So we'll send out text messages to the relevant zip codes, and then people can come in and work directly with us. And we also have other agencies there. So we had HEAP with us, we had Fidelis, kind of like a one-stop shop so people can come in and just get all different kinds of assistance. Those are usually pretty well attended. So my last one, we had over 50 people come, which I thought was a good attendance. But like I said, we do bigger ones, smaller ones, and we're always happy to partner with anybody who thinks they may have some people who might need some assistance one-on-one. We also do outreach like this meeting, either virtually, in person. We go to a lot of different community events and just set up tables where we can either hand out information. We generally have our laptops with us. So if someone did approach us and it wasn't supposed to be like a one-on-one event, we're always still happy to work with people. If they are needing assistance and we can pull up their account, we can work with them on the spot. This is how you reach a consumer advocate. So you can call, this is just the general 1-800 number. You can ask to speak with a consumer advocate and they will route you to the right one. They'll submit a referral to us and then we call the client back. They can submit an email through this email right here. And that again will get routed to the right consumer advocate. And then I'll also provide my contact information at the end of the meeting so people can also call me or email me directly. So I'm going to talk a little bit about HEAP, which is open now. So it opened November 1st for the first benefit. We call that regular HEAP. You must be at or below the New York State's median income to be eligible for it. Generally, if people get SNAP, they are automatically qualified. I always tell people to double check with their SNAP worker just to make sure, because although they should be, we want to make sure that they are applied and they're getting that grant. If people don't receive SNAP, they can apply online. I'm probably getting a little ahead of myself, but they can apply online. And then if you go to the OTDA website by county. There's also the agencies that they can go to if they can't get to DSS. There's other certifiers in each county, which some people prefer to go to rather than having to go to DSS and, you know, wait all day there. It's usually quicker to go to an agency if they are interested in that as well. So there are two parts to HEAP. There's the regular benefit, like I just talked about, and then the emergency benefit that opens January 2nd. So coming up here shortly. The difference between the two is you do not need a shutoff notice for the regular HEAP benefit. Even if you're in a payment agreement, if you are income qualified, then you can get the regular HEAP benefit. The emergency HEAP benefit, you do need an active shutoff notice to get. And it has to be 30 days after you've received the regular HEAP benefit. And you have to get the regular HEAP benefit first. So if someone didn't get the regular HEAP benefit and they had a shutoff notice, they could still go to DSS. They'd get them the regular HEAP and then they could get the emergency HEAP after that. If they got the regular HEAP benefit and then they have a shutoff after January 2nd, they can generally just call DSS and apply that way. But they cannot apply online for the emergency HEAP benefit. And then there's also an electric only benefit for emergency HEAP, and it's generally a lot lower than the regular HEAP. So regular HEAP right now is about like $400 if you have gas and electric with us, where if you're just electric, it's only, I don't know how much it is this year, but last year it was like $50. So it's not that much, but you know, it's better than nothing. So here are the income guidelines for HEAP this year. They're also on the OTDA website, but those just give you a general idea. I just went over this about how to get emergency HEAP. So you have to be income eligible, have the shutoff notice, and they can find their local HEAP office on the OTDA website. Little more contact information on how to apply for HEAP. So you can call the 1-800, you can apply online for the regular HEAP benefit, and then that's where you'd find your local office or the alternative certifiers. And I also just went over that as well. There's two other programs. There's actually three. I don't think there's one included in here through HEAP. So if people are having trouble with their furnace or need it cleaned and tuned, you can also go through DSS for that. Again, it's income eligible. And there's also an air conditioning benefit in the summer as well that goes through HEAP. If people need air conditioners, they can go through HEAP to apply for assistance with that as well. Here's some more information. If you're working with veterans, they have a little bit more grant assistance through these programs. And then I'm going to go over energy affordability. So this is directly through National Grid. If a customer receives HEAP, then they are automatically qualified for the energy affordability program. They don't need to do anything further. It is a bill discount, so it varies depending on your income. It's anywhere from $3 up to like, I think $17 or $18, and that's monthly on your bill. If people don't receive HEAP, they can apply online for it through National Grid, which is on the next slide. They just have to be receiving one of these programs to apply for the energy affordability program. If they do not receive HEAP, they can go right on the portal on National Grid and apply for it there. I believe they do have to provide proof of one of these assistance programs, but they can do it that way. And then these are two more grants or actually three that are available. And this is, we partner with HeartShare to administer these grants. So the first is the Care and Share grant. This opens in February. And if people receive HEAP, then they can get this grant. They're not automatically they're not automatically applied. They have to apply for it. But if they do receive HEAP, then they will get it. It is generally a $200 grant, and it is fuel blind. So that's important for our customers who just receive electric. So if they got that emergency $50 credit just for electric, then they can also get that $200 credit through Care and Share, which is nice for them because they don't get much. So they need to have an active National Grid account, and they had to have gotten HEAP. That's for the Care and Share. I can help people apply for this if they can't get through to HeartShare or they're having trouble applying for it online. I can apply for it for them if they need assistance. And then the second grant administered by HeartShare is called the Hope and Warmth Fund. That is already open, and this is for customers who are not HEAP eligible. So over here is where the income limits are. So it's the NYSERDA income limits. They have to have at least $200 in arrears. And they have to have a vulnerable adult in the household. So they have to, or not adult, I'm sorry, vulnerable person. So either a child under the age of 18 or an elderly person 62 and older. So this will be a $200 grant, and then a 30-day hold will also go on their account once they are determined eligible for this grant. So they will be protected from shut off. Same with the Care and Share. If they get the Care and Share grant, they also get a 30-day hold on their account. They can only receive once per a season. And it can't be used to restore service. So if someone is already shut off, they can't use this grant to get their service back on. And then the third one through HeartShare is Hearts Fighting Hunger program. So again, this one is already open, and it's a $150 grant to a major grocery store. So the grocery stores we have this year in our area are, I think, Market 32 and Price Chopper, and also Aldi. And it's the same criteria as the Hearts Fighting Hunger. So they had to apply for the Hearts Fighting Hunger grant, have an active National Grid account, same income limit information, and then the vulnerable person as well. And then they get one grant per season. Just a little bit on energy efficiency. So there's the Weatherization Assistance Program. People actually ask about these sorts of things more than I anticipated. A lot of times people will give me a call and just say, like, I can't afford my monthly bill. I don't know what to do. So this is where we refer them to, is getting some weatherization done in their home, or also working with Empower, which is in the next slide. They can work with these two programs together. So this one, you could go to OTTA for more details. They have to receive SSI, SNAP, HEAP, that sort of thing to get assistance through the weatherization program. But these are all the things that they can replace in their home. And then we also work with Empower. So that's through NYSERDA. This program's been around for a long time. But what they will do is they'll go into the home or apartment and do an energy audit. And then they can pinpoint if there's, leaky windows, if their furnace is not energy efficient, if their doors are not energy efficient, and they can help either provide low cost or no cost energy improvements. The only thing that I've seen difficult with this program is if you do rent, I do believe you need your landlord's permission to get things replaced, and then it will go off the landlord's income. So that's a little tricky there. And like I said, you can use these together. So Empower can provide the energy audit, and then they can use Empower and the weatherization program together to get the most benefit out of both these programs. And this is how you apply online. And you can see the income guidelines and everything on there. And I think that's it for me for the presentation part. Let me get back so I can see everybody. Okay, here I am. I know that was a ton of information, so I don't know if anybody has any questions.
I do.
Sure.
So if somebody is HEAP eligible, but I work with somebody who gets fuel oil, So they have the fuel oil and then they have their national grid bill and their HEAP grant automatically goes to their fuel oil. Would they still qualify for the first program you were talking about?
So they wouldn't qualify for the regular HEAP. They could get the emergency HEAP for the electric only benefit. So that's like the much smaller one. But they would need a shutoff notice from National Grid in order to get that.
I
But they
meant,
would.
sorry.
That's okay.
No, the three programs you were talking, like the grant ones.
Okay, so they wouldn't get care and share unless they got HEAP for the emergency. I do think they could get, yes, they could do the Hope and Warmth.
Okay,
That
because
would
I mean,
probably
they
be their
get
best.
HEAP, their HEAP grant goes to their fuel oil rather than their national grid bill, but they have a national grid bill.
The other thing they can do is provide their HEAP benefit letter to us. I don't know, are you in Warren County? So Carrie
Yeah.
would be in contact. They could email her that letter and we could attach it to their application and they could get the care and share. I forgot about that. Yes. So then they could get that 200 through that.
Thank you.
No problem.
Christy, we did have one question in the chat just asking what would be the best way to contact you if people have trouble reaching someone to apply for benefits.
I'll provide my email and my phone number right now. They can just email me that way or email me or call me, either one.
Perfect. We appreciate you coming, Christy, to present. We were very interested in this, especially when we have some new like supportive housing apartments coming online for people. We have individuals that are working through care management. So this was very, very timely and we appreciate you joining us today.
No problem. One more thing I was thinking about that's not in the presentation about how I could specifically help youth or people entering, into those situations are, I know a lot of misinformation is around, like if people had previous arrears, they're afraid to open an account in their name. So they don't have to be afraid. I can help them get an account open, and then what we do is just get them into a payment agreement. So I think a lot of people think they won't be able to open an account if they have a previous outstanding balance. That's not true. We can get them open and then just get them into a payment agreement on the previous balance and they'd be all set. Any other questions? I put my contact information in there. And if you think of anything, send me an email. Even if you're not Albany or Columbia counties, either I can answer or I can get you to the right advocate.
Thank you, Christy. And before you leave today, do you mind trying to pass the host back to me? You might be able to do it by clicking the 3 dots next to my name. Perfect. Thank you so much, Christy. And if people have other questions, we can make sure to reach out via email.
Sounds good. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for taking the time to listen to that spotlight speaker. We really appreciate you hearing us out on this new opportunity for people. The next thing we are going to get to is talking about this new grant that has been put out by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. So I'm just going to share my screen with all of you and hold on one second. And thank you for those of you that are joining us today that may not technically always join this call. We appreciate you being here to hear this information. Is this showing up a little bit small on your screen? We can make it bigger for everybody.
That's better. Thanks, Bree.
Absolutely. So the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development put out a new notice of funding opportunity. This is called the Youth Homelessness Systems Improvement Project. On certain webinars, they're calling it the YESI NOFO. The project description is that the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development is awarding $50 million of funding through the Youth Homelessness Systems Improvement Grant to support communities in establishing, implementing, or improving an existing response system for youth at risk of or experiencing homelessness. In this grant, HUD will include additional points for statewide or cross-community proposals to emphasize the need for coordination across communities. This was something that really excited us when we heard that. They will provide technical assistance to communities, and communities will be expected to fully participate in any evaluation activities that may be conducted by HUD. And this notice of funding opportunity will award projects for a term of up to 30 months. The YESI grant, though very important, is not going to be utilized. It cannot be utilized to provide housing or services. This is a systems improvement, so more of those planning. And the eligible project activities here are planning and partnership, with the maximum award amount being $400,000, data, $300,000, coordinated entry at $200,000, and racial and gender equity at $200,000. So here at CARES, we are proposing to submit an application that will focus on systems building, which includes planning and facilitation of a youth action board, reviewing and developing the coordinated entry programs within the geographic areas with a goal of having them better serve youth. And 3 is conducting an analysis focused on racial and gender equity within the delivery of youth services. CARES will support you in the YESI submission by leading weekly check-in meetings with those that are interested in applying, coordinating and drafting of the community application, and reviewing and editing all parts of the application, ensuring that there is a completion and submission in a timely manner. In the YESI grant, as a lead here, the COC will support the submission by again hosting those weekly check-in meetings, supporting the brainstorming of content for the application, completing outreach work to partners to engage them, looking to engage potential youth action board members, and an estimated 5 to 8 hours per week from January to February 15th is what we would be looking for those in the YESI grant. The application for the YESI NOFO is due February 15th of 2024, and we are asking for final commitment from agencies by December 20th so that we know who is interested in participating in this grant. Does anybody have any questions regarding this? And I'm also going to allow Kelsey to add anything if you'd like.
Yes, thank you. So I would like to share a little bit more about kind of broadly what the grant can fund, and then dive back into what Bree shared about kind of what CARES is proposing. So this is a really unique opportunity because to date, any youth homeless grants have only one continuum of care has been able to apply at a time. So that's mostly been the YHDP Youth Homelessness Demonstration Program grant. And also that has been available for direct services, which is fantastic because we need more direct services for youth. But where the communities that we've worked with, the COCs that we've worked with have fallen short when we've gotten feedback on those applications is that systems level coordination. So we were hopeful that this application would fund multi-COCs and could help support some of the infrastructure that HUD is looking for so that then at some point we could get more of that HUD funding for the direct services for youth. So I wanted to go through broadly what this grant can fund, and then explain a little bit about why CARES was hoping to work with all of your COCs to drill in on a couple of the items specifically. So give me one second. These are HUD slides, and I will forewarn you that unfortunately they are cut off, but they give you a little bit of a basis of what's eligible. So can everybody see that? Yeah, planning and partnership. Okay, so again, there are 4 categories that are eligible in this grant. There's the planning and partnership, which are things like developing community-wide or region-wide partnerships to better address youth homelessness, compensating youth action board members for their work, hosting local conferences, engagement, training, and cross-coordination with youth with lived experience, and also like systems mapping, planning. So really like broad scale planning efforts to look at what is the system of care for youth experiencing homelessness and where are there gaps. Data-wise, you can fund upgrading or customizing your HMIS to better collect data on youth experiencing homelessness. You can coordinate with other systems of care that have other forms of data collection, like schools, and develop and implement evaluation and analysis strategies related to youth homelessness. Coordinated entry, you can establish or improve youth-specific coordinated entry access points. Develop your coordinated entry tool so that it is better serving youth, etc. And finally, racial and gender equity. So these are all costs associated with assessing the needs of youth experiencing homelessness, with a specific focus on youth subpopulations such as racial minorities and LGBTQIA populations. So that's a little bit more about kind of what's eligible. Sorry, my screen has been really struggling today. Okay, so Bree, could you bring back up that one pager that you had?
Absolutely.
Okay. So what CARES was thinking when we read through all of this and digested it is a couple of concentrated things that we think would make a lot of sense for this 2.5-year grant across a variety of COCs. The primary ones are funding the youth advisory boards, because that's something that there's not currently a funding source for, and we've struggled with kind of getting youth advisory boards off the ground in COCs because there's not the funding both to support it and to fund those youth with lived experience on the actual boards. So that was an exciting opportunity, we felt. We also have been it's been a challenge trying to figure out how to alter coordinated entry as a program that allows for access to COC funded housing programs, to alter that in a way that best serves youth. And so having some funding dedicated to it, to assessing those systems and updating it, is another area. And then finally, we thought conducting an analysis of youth homelessness that's focused on racial and gender equity, so that we can assess how our youth services programs are serving folks. Yes, are serving folks. So that's kind of what we were thinking. And again, we want to go in, it would be your COC going in as a whole. And what we would ask is that you have one lead per your COC who would work in coordination with us on this application. So that's what the ask is. And we tried to lay out here what we'll do, what we would hope from you as we partner in going in together. So I guess now I'd love to open it up for ideas and feedback and potential interest.
I can, sorry, go ahead, Mary.
No, go ahead.
I was kind of thinking out loud to our local Boys and Girls Club. I was involved in the creation of the Akwesasne Boys and Girls Club in Northern New York. And they're a separate 501c3. They're interested in supportive housing for youth aging out of foster care, that sort of thing. Mm. And plus another couple of housing projects. So I don't know if this could be maybe a jumping off point to try to get together, I guess, the backing for some youth housing projects for the future. So I'm trying to think how I could piece that together. I was hoping to have the Boys and Girls Club director involved in this meeting, but I never got a chance to connect with her before today. So that's a connection I'll make after this meeting. So I'm just gonna, I guess, throw some ideas out there that, number one, we need homelessness for youth. So this committee is super important for that. And I know the tribe tribal council and all the programs and services has joined this, our local COC in Franklin, Essex County. So we're starting to generate discussions internally about what possibly could be, what could possibly seed some of our projects going forward. So I'm excited to hear about this. I'm just worried that it's so close to deadline that it would be hard to really piece something together that's fundable. So I'll cross my fingers in that end. Thanks.
Thanks, Rita. Those are great points. And I think what you're saying lines up with what we're thinking too. Again, this program unfortunately is not funding direct service, but it could support us in better identifying youth experiencing homelessness through coordinated entry and through better capturing of data that then supports applications for housing moving forward.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah, we got to start somewhere, right? So,
right.
perfect jumping
Mary,
off.
go ahead.
Well, first of all, the whole reason that this committee was formed a number of years ago was to, as we all know, to provide accurate data that leads to services and solutions to youth homelessness, right? So when I saw this, I thought, wow, this is perfectly consistent and parallel to what this committee is supposed to have been doing all these years. And now there's some funding that could possibly support that. So I just have a couple of questions. I want to make sure I'm on the right track here. What you're asking is between January and February, about 5 hours a week from whatever agency is willing to get involved in this. And then in reading the RFP, it looks like it's supposed to start June 1st of 2024. So is that your understanding as well?
It is
So that,
somehow.
if they award it when they say they're going to award it, if the applications don't even go in until February 15th and then the awards in June, it's a very short time frame to get started, particularly as we learned through the youth homelessness demonstration grants. It takes, as you know, a lot of time to coordinate all the players. And the RFP clearly states things like schools and child welfare and juvenile justice and, kids aging in foster care, all that. There's a lot of entities that have to be brought into this. So it's not to say I'm not enthusiastic. I just want to be somewhat realistic that it is going to take some time and effort, and it's only a 2.5-year grant. So we have to be careful about how how the time was spent. As I'm sure you know. The other question I had is your thinking that you would apply for all the categories, or are you kind of focusing on the data portion or the planning and partnership, or which entity which category are you most interested in?
Sure. So we were thinking that the funding, the structure around and funding those who participated in the Youth Advisory Board would fall nicely into the planning and partnerships category. The coordinatory piece would obviously fall into the coordinatory category. And then the data analysis that's really honing in on how are we serving youth broken down by race and gender identity would be that racial and gender equity portion. We were not thinking of going in for the data portion off the bat, just because a lot of we were thinking focusing on those 3 topic areas would be substantial for that 2.5 years. And it felt a little overwhelming trying to look at like how we would integrate our HMIS with like school data.
But isn't part of the planning and partnership piece, isn't that going to also include the collection of data from each of the representatives that are going to be involved in this, or did I misread it?
I think you're right. I think there's some flexibilities between the 4 categories. And so that's why we weren't thinking like, I think the data section is about kind of enhancing your HMIS.
Oh,
So we weren't necessarily looking to do that.
okay.
Unless we hear from you all that you think that that's a significant need, and in which case we can pivot.
So your plan is to apply for 800,000 then? 4, 5, 6, 7.
Um,
I had it wrong. 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, that's 800,000.
we haven't gotten that far. We're just kind of brainstorming around the topic areas at the moment right now, and wanted to see who would be interested in A, are those initiatives kind of what you see as the biggest needs out of what's eligible through this program, and B, if so, who would be interested in joining?
Well, I think I'm interested.
Yay. And the other thing I'll say when I put that out there is not, I don't mean to put everyone on the spot. I mean, it is a little bit of a quick turnaround, but our goal is to get that information from you. You know, is this the right focus, and are you interested in participating on behalf of your COC by December 20th? So you have a little bit of time to consider this. The other part is that we'll be following up in an email with the full Continuum of Care board, just so that everybody is, again, knowledgeable on what this opportunity is, and that we shared this here today, but just so that if anybody was missing from today's meeting, they're able to still participate potentially.
And have you selected the COCs yet, or is that to be determined? No, okay.
I think it's based on, it's two-way, right? It's based also on COC interest. We're open to working with whomever is interested.
By next Wednesday.
I know it's a quick turnaround. We just want to be able to pivot to do the actual application quickly and well.
Totally understand.
Thanks, Mary.
So can I clarify something? I just wanted to, so this is a grant that is going to be led by the COC, by CARES, right? And you want partnerships to join onto that, piggyback off of that, the opportunity, right?
I think that's what we were thinking, but we're also open to other ideas.
Okay, thank you. I would be interested in discovering a little bit more, for sure.
Kelsey, just by way of, well, actually, there was some stuff online on the HUD website about the grant that's a little more detailed. I'm sure you've seen it, but it might help people to make a decision if that were sent around too.
Sure, we can send around the NOFO.
Or, the excerpt of it.
Okay, yep.
So obviously I have to present this to another person at the agency, but I'm either going to get fired or we'll be on board. So I'm going to say yes to St. Anne. Either you won't see me next month, or I'm going to say we're on board.
I love it.
Hi, Kelsey. It's Andrea from Unity House. How are you?
Hi, good. How are you?
Good, thanks. Just a couple questions. One is, it looks like there's the opportunity of 2 or more COCs, then the maximum award amounts are doubled, but it looks like it would still be a single application. So if more than one COC was interested, do you feel like there needs, I didn't read, full disclosure, I've not had time to read the full NOFO yet. But does there need to be some type of link between the two systems so there's some type of synergy? Would that mean, what does that mean, that if you're doing 2 or more COCs in a single app?
So our thinking, what we heard from HUD on a recent webinar, is that they're looking for regional efforts. So our thinking was that we would go in as a multi-COC. So that we would kind of put forth an application for 2 or more COCs interested, because at least kind of what the projects that we were thinking of that would be funded through this would kind of benefit multiple COCs all in one. So we could fund a youth action board in each COC that goes in to apply and provide structure and support to that at a regional level. We could talk regionally about what are the hindrances in terms of funding coordinated or funding, excuse me, sorry, it's been a long day. In terms of having coordinated entry support youth in accessing housing. And that's something that kind of goes across COCs, but then we can support implementing at each COC that goes in. So that's what we were thinking, again, in response to HUD saying that really they're not only can you apply as multi-COC, but they're looking for that.
Yeah. And then each of those kind of categories of eligible project activities, I imagine it depends on who wants to apply, but are those responsibilities that would lie with one lead? Or if you have a lead in the COC, could other COC organizations be partners in that as subrecipients or some type of structure?
That's a great question. I don't think we have thought through that far yet, but it's certainly a good question for us to think about. And again, we're open to discussing. So if as we're discussing, you think that, you know, subbing out some funding in order to make something work within your COC is necessary, that's something we can certainly discuss.
Okay. And if multiple COCs are applying for this project, you'll wait to see what the team looks like and then kind of figure out how to write it, or writing for each COC, or what does that look like?
No, it's one application. So that's why we're asking for a quick turnaround of commitment, because then we're going to need to pivot hard to actually, as a group, write the application.
Right, one application, but if the process looks like, if what one COC's ideas are for each topic, does it have to be one approach, or could there be different approaches from different COCs?
I think it generally would need to be one approach and method. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. One more question. Could the document that Bree was showing, could you share that with just kind of what the expectations are around CARE's role and such?
Yes,
Absolutely.
we certainly can.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have any final questions or interest in this grant? I saw in the chat some interest in having the full NOFO sent out to everyone, so we can attach that. We can attach this document that I just worked on, the one pager, and then other stuff from HUD that was sent out. We can follow up with that to everybody. That sound good?
Oh.
All right. Mary, I wanted to give you a minute. We have some time. So you had mentioned the meeting minutes, and I wanted to give you an opportunity to share out.
Oh, it just says in B for drop-in centers, it says advice was given to create flyers and marketing to demystify what drop-in centers and ensure youth. And then it doesn't say ensure youth what.
It must have cut off. I can definitely follow through with that. What we had spoken about was that we had interest in any agencies that are hosting a drop-in center. We could do a collaborative flyer so that people could understand what drop-in centers are available throughout the capital region.
Okay.
I did not hear back from anyone though. So if that is still of interest, I would love for people to respond to my email or put stuff in the chat. We can work on that if there is any interest.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I also wanted to go over one other thing with the few minutes we have left, is that we need to work on our calendaring for the upcoming year for 2024. And I wanted to ask if everyone is okay if we were able to keep this time. Usually we meet the second Monday of the month from 2 to 3 p.m. And if there's a holiday that falls on that Monday, we would then put it on that next Tuesday. Does everyone feel okay with this meeting time?
Yes.
Works for me.
Works for you? Okay. All right. Kelsey, any other final things you want to add in before we head out for today?
You want to quickly show who is kind of supporting the point in time count from the youth perspective for
Yeah,
each
I would love
COC?
to.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So this is a document that was created to try to show who and what communities are going to be able to support the point in time count. So in Albany, we have support from the youth pit lead of St. Anne's Institute is going to support with James Worley, who conducted the outreach for October's point in time count. In Schenectady, we have interest from Safe Inc. We did not have anybody in Rensselaer, so if there are any agencies in Rensselaer that are interested in supporting the youth pit lead, what our interest is on that day, being able to support whether it's at your agency or going out with Joseph's House and Shelter to be able to ensure that when these surveys are being conducted, that there is individuals looking out for youth specifically. So is there anyone interested in supporting Rensselaer that is on this call that I may not have included?
So we're a Rensselaer County provider, so I'll go, and I know you had emailed me and we were trying to figure out if we could do it. It's just our youth program has no staff at the moment. We had some promotions, so folks moved out.
Okay.
And it's just a hard time of year to be hiring. So we're
Yep.
not sure we'll have staff. If we do have staff and our youth center is open, we can certainly do something at the site. It's just,
Okay.
we don't know if we're going to have people.
Yep, not a problem.
Fair
So
enough.
that's where that lies.
No problem. Thank you so much. We do not have any youth pit leads in Columbia Green. Are there any agencies from Columbia Green that are on that might have interest? I don't believe so. Okay. In Franklin and Essex County, Retha, we were able to work with the Boys and Girls Club and the St. Regis Mohawk Tribe. They have interest in being a part of this, which we really look forward to. So we have information
Yes.
from them.
Yes, for sure.
Wonderful. In Points North, we do not have a youth point in time lead, but I don't believe we have anyone on this call today either that could support. In Saratoga County, we have confirmed both from Captain Human Services, Lori, you're going to be our pit lead. And then also Brooke, Jason McLaughlin had said up in the North Country that Waite House would be able to support the youth pit lead. 601 in Dutchess, Anthony, we have you on for Hudson River Housing. Is that still available for you to support being the pit lead?
Yes, I'm still here to
Awesome.
be the pit lead.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
New York 606 Rockland, we had tried to reach out to the Rockland County Youth Bureau. We're curious to see if they would be able to support, but I'm not sure if they're on this call as well either today. And then Ulster, we did not have anyone. And 501 and 511, I don't believe we have anyone on this call today.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So we appreciate all of those agencies that are interested in supporting the youth pit lead. That was one of the guidance from HUD this year, that not only were we looking out for youth, but we're also going to be looking out for veteran populations. More information will come out. We just completed our point in time count training last week. So for those of you that were able to attend, thank you. And for those of you that didn't, we will have a recording that is sent out to everybody. And the next steps for those that are pit leads would be to complete the methodology forms as we prepare for the point in time count in January. All right. Lori, anything from you?
Nothing from me. Just take a look at the agenda so you can see some of the upcoming trainings that we have highlighted.
Perfect.
And thank you so much, Bree.
Yeah, absolutely. I will take a second just to let you guys know that in those trainings and events updates, they're coming up pretty quick on December 12th, tomorrow, and the 13th, but there's Trainings about communities talking to prevent alcohol and other drug misuse. That's something that we had already talked about with our teen vaping. Medicaid policy and school mental health. I thought that might be interested for the McKinney-Vento homeless liaison leads. And then lastly, again, another one on e-cigarettes and social media influencers, which will be on December 13th. But other than that, we appreciate you guys coming today for the call. And we look forward to hearing from you if you have interest in that youth homeless systems information grant. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
All right,
Have a good
take
day.
care.
Great, bye.
Thank you. Bye.